Hi everybody, how are you all? I hope you're well. We are here, January 2020, and so it's the first vlog of this year, and it's a new year, and so it's very exciting. I think it's exciting starting out new. This is, I'm into the second week of January. The beginning of our January kind of started rough. We had a few things going on, but here I am now. So I'm happy to join you and hope talk about some fun things and looking forward. I love looking forward. We are not going backwards. We're just keeping going forward. That always makes me very happy. Molly's over here taking a nap. I thought I heard her say something, but she's just napping. So anyhow, so let's see. Let's start with the art part of my life. I have my studio almost back. My dear sweet sister was here visiting, and oh my goodness, we had so much fun. And so of course I turn the studio into a guest room when I have people here. So I now have it mostly back, and I'll be getting down to working real hard. I've got a lot of paintings to be doing, and that's great. This time of year is the time of year for me to be busy painting. So I'm hoping that next week I will get snuggled into the studio and paint will be flying. So I'm looking forward to that. I have a few projects that really need to get finished. A few of my paintings have found new homes for themselves. I'll be posting which ones soon. I've been bad about keeping things posted right now, but I'm getting back on track. So, you know, that's life. It's up and down. And that's one of the things with my art studio business. I love it and I want to continue to love it. I don't want it to become a controlling factor of my life. It is part of the joy of my life, and I need it for a release from the stresses of my life. So I don't really push it hard, and there's going to be ups and downs, and it also means that I won't be selling huge amounts either, which is fine because like I said, I want to keep it so that there's a balance, and I want to make sure it stays a joy for me. Because I think it would be tragic to take something that you love so much and enjoy doing and then turn it into something that's nothing but pressure. And so I don't apologize for being a bad business person. I'll put it that way. That's why on my different social media accounts, I really do try to share really funny, positive things, because I think there's enough stress in people's lives that we don't need to be, I don't need to be sharing very much negative stuff. I think it's very clear. There's a lot of negative things going on, but I like to focus on the positive of it. I really love a quote by Mr. Rogers, and he said that when he was little, and he would see scary things happening on the news, his mom would say to him, look for the helpers, because there's always helpers, and focus on the helpers. And I think that's a really beautiful sentiment that we kids can really use that. And as an adult, I really use that. And so, you know, this week I did share some information on the fires in Australia. It is severe, it's devastating. You know, we can do a few things to help, and so we try to help a little bit. But like I said, I do try to focus on positive things, the positive things people do, and the hopeful things. So I hope you enjoy the content in those places. It isn't all business, but I do try to just share a positive or funny or a joyful thing. And then once in a while I throw some business in there. That's the same with the vlog and the YouTube channel. It's really just for sharing what I do, and if it helps somebody else, it's great. So on to gardening. Okay, I know it's the middle of January. I'm getting my urges to garden again, which I think happens to all gardeners. And I watch other vlogs and other YouTube channels who are gardeners who are way superior to me. But I think it's kind of the same trend. You know, by the end of summer, we are exhausted and just can't really deal with digging another hole or chopping down another weed. We're just too exhausted from doing everything we've been doing. And then October, November comes along and we get a little bit of break and it's such a nice relief. But then in January, we're ready to go again. So lots of people about this time are planning their gardens for next year. And for me, when I talk about garden, to me, it encompasses everything, all of my landscaping, because every part of a piece of land that I've got, I try to incorporate something that's growing that's beneficial. Where I live is a little more complicated because we are in the high desert and we do risk terrible droughts and fires here. And so when I plant things, I'm always hopeful that I will see huge results from them. But I also balance that with knowing that I could lose these different things that I've put in because of drought. But if I didn't try, I couldn't enjoy it at all. So I always try to try. And it's okay if I lose something later. I got to enjoy it while I had it. And the other just amazing thing about doing a garden, particularly of perennials, is that every year it gives you more than the year before. And it, you know, you actually put in less work for the plant or tree. Every year you put in less work for it and it gives you more and more stuff. And that's just, to me, such an amazing thing. So I am starting to plan. Of course, in my garden spaces, I don't feel they're finished. And so I'm working on the list of finishing things. And I just wanted to show you my big book of sketches. So I have some of my lists from last year, and I'm really pleased with what happened last year. And I don't care that it made me really tired. Actually, I think it's really good for me to work that hard. So I started a new list. I'll put that over here. It's not finished yet. Oops, where did that go? Oh, I've lost control here. Okay, so my list for last year had a total of, I know I'm crazy, 85 things on it. And I finished 77 of them. I'm so proud of that. Of course, now I have to tell you, I am a list girl. I love lists. They make me feel better when I mark it all off. So I do cut my projects down into much smaller aspects than just say, here's a project, finish that, check it off. Excuse me. So I kind of like, number one was move stepping stones out of the courtyard. So that's not a huge list. That was the secret garden. That's where I was starting the secret garden. And then I wanted to lay weed barrier under the hammock, did that. So a lot of stuff that's really simple little list. But then I had down here on number 6, finish strawberry planter and fill with dirt. That was a really big one. And then I also have a list. Made a list of things that I would need to purchase for the different projects that I had. And that was helpful because then you can budget. You know, it's better to be able to budget, at least for me. I'm just telling you what I do. You do whatever you want to do. And that's the fun thing. You figure out your own way of doing things. But anyway, I have this big long list on my sketch paper. And I really just have 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. It looks like I have 7 things on here as far as supplies. And some of them are kind of big, but what I do is it's not that much more, so that's good. And also I can just kind of decide how I can budget each thing in. So that's why sometimes some of the larger projects kind of get put off because it's easier to do a smaller project and be able to afford that. And then I have all my sketches. I do these little sketches, and I have to tell you, when I do art, my sketches are awful. They look like chicken scratch. I don't sketch in detail. I'm just trying to get the idea that I have in my head on the piece of paper. And when I have the sketch in place, all I have to do is look back at that sketch, and then I remember the picture in my head that matches that sketch most of the time. If it's not something that I don't get to for a very long time, either I don't recall it properly or I'm over it. That happens a lot. And I'm sure it happens with other artists too. You know, you thought that was such a great idea at the time you put it down on the piece of paper, and then a year later you look at it and go, ah. And there's a reason why you didn't do it for a year, because you already knew it wasn't that great, at least to you. So anyway, my sketches of the gardens are kind of rough, although this one was really good. I'll try to show you. It's all crossed off now because that is no longer the plan for the kiddo's courtyard. So that one's out. I'll put that over there. And we have a new one for his. And like I talked about it last month, it's going to be a place to try to attract crows. So I'm excited about that. I'm getting close to being able to start the pathway in that courtyard. But it is really cold. I'm covered in blankets right now. I know, I've become a wimp. I used to live, you know, where it was way below zero all the time. But I've adjusted to the more southern climate. I personally don't prefer really hot weather, but here it's kind of like in the middle as far as hot weather goes. And I am kind of missing the warmth. And I don't know if that's just because I've gotten older or if I just adjusted to it warmer. So I haven't been out moving the rafters into place yet for the walkway. But I think, well, you know, it's really cold right now, January, February. But in March, we have some warm days. So I'll probably start in March on that. And then this one, this was the secret garden here, and now that's finished, which is really cool to say. The secret garden's finished. So I'm gonna put that one away. And then this is the really complicated back gardens. And I like to just kind of draw where things might go, and then I pull lines out of stuff that I want to plant or what I want to place. I've done an awful lot of the backyard, but that's the place that needs the most. So I've been working on some new stuff, and I'm looking forward to that. I've decided to embrace the cement pad out in the backyard. Really don't like it, to be honest, from an aesthetic point of view, and also using up planting space. However, the way that cement space is, it's holding back dirt from the one side, which is connected to the neighbors, the way their land is sloped. It is all the way up to the house foundation, and it runs to where the shed is. So if I were to try to take that out, it would be a major undertaking, and I don't like major undertakings. Oh, there goes my sketchbook. Woke Molly right up. Oh, sorry, Molly. She was like, I was napping. What was that? So anyway, I have a big plan for the cement pad instead of, you know, trying. I knew right away I wasn't ever going to get rid of it. I was just trying to figure out how am I going to work it into the design. And it's taken me a couple of years to come up with a plan, but I believe, and we'll see how it goes this year, because I am behind on my ideas for pergolas. I only got partway on the one for the hammock, but I think I'm going to be building a pretty large pergola covering over the whole cement pad. And then I have an idea to put on top of the cement pad. And again, I can't start that until probably March, but I'm excited about that. And I don't have a whole lot of planting on my list. I'm going to add 2 more trees up front. I'd like to add 2 cherry trees. And I have a couple of arbors I'd like to build and add some roses. I might go a little rose crazy this year. So that's just kind of been what's going on in my planning stages in January. I always find that's fun. And I have so many seeds from the year before. I don't think I'll be buying seeds, but I might give in and buy a couple. We'll see. I'm helping a friend design a really small a little garden area. I'm really excited about that. So there's a few things I can do before spring comes for that to help her. And then, oh, I was able to can some of my tomatoes that I had frozen. So I guess I had about 5 plants that did really well, and we ate lots and lots and lots of tomatoes. I mean, my husband can eat tomatoes all day long. But from the tomatoes that we didn't eat, I did stick in the freezer because I just didn't have time to process them. And turns out, all those videos I was watching about making, canning tomatoes, the freezing of them actually makes it much easier to make tomato sauce out of. That's what I made. And I only got 5 jars, but I have some plans in effect for next year. I'm going to be adding a small freezer so that I can store more tomatoes, and I am going to be changing where I'm putting my tomatoes. They were in that enclosed little garden because I was trying to keep them away from Molly. But when I do the 2 raised beds, they're going to be up high enough she won't be able to reach them. So I'm going to fill those 2 raised beds with tomatoes since we use a lot of tomatoes. And then in the old garden, I'm going to be doing the hay method potato gardening because we do use quite a few potatoes as well. And then of course I have the strawberry bed, and then I have a few other little places where I plant a few other things. But my focus this year will be tomatoes, strawberries, and potatoes. And I'm also increasing some shelving so I can add more canning to my city farm girl life because it is amazingly useful. Just the other day I made peach pie out of my peach pie filling that I had canned already, and it just turned out so good. Now, over the years I have frozen peaches, for making pies later in the year, but the taste is so much better when it's canned. I can't even compare it, to be honest. So I was really happy to do that. So and it's really nice to be able to start using the canning that I've done. So those are kind of some of the plans that are going along. And oh, I wanted to tell you about Molly. So remember, we were struggling with her thyroid level, and it is actually finally leveled where it's supposed to be. Of course, she has to stay on medication, but at least it's where it's supposed to be. She does have a serious weight issue because it has been a long time to get it balanced, and also because she got spayed, that increases weight issues. And she doesn't eat hardly anything, to be honest. She's on a really good diet, but I can't cut that back any further, so we've got to focus on a lot more exercise, I hope. I hate to see her a little bit overweight like she is, but I'm happy that her thyroid is level again. And we have a couple of problems in our backyard. So there's a neighbor behind us. He likes to, he uses firewood all year round. I mean, all winter to heat his house, clearly, because he chops wood almost every day. The problem is you just see his head right above the fence. So he looks like a disembodied head, and Molly really does not approve of that. And sometimes I just let her go ahead and bark at him, and other times I keep her in. I think I'll probably extend my fencing so she can't see his floating head anymore. And on the other side, where I was trying to keep the dog on the back of the, on the other neighbor, where the dog was jumping up high so that you could see his head over the cement fence. Well, now he's gotten high enough you can see his head over the wood fence. So I really, there's nothing more that I can do. I think that if he were to grab hold of the cement fence, he would not be able to get up over the wood part of the fence. So I'm not going to worry too much about his head floating up over the fence. He's been in training again. We just added a new challenge for him is all. But at least I know if he gets his feet up on the cement fence, he can't pull himself up over the wood fence. And then they also added a trampoline for the kids, which is great for the kids. And Molly thinks, invasion are happening again. So I don't know. This summer will be a little interesting. That's actually one of the reasons I'm going to do the pergola over that cement pad, because it will start to block that corner view for her, for underneath, and for us too. So, I mean, I don't mind the kids having fun. They should have fun. It's just adds a funny challenge in our lives. So that's what's going on, and I hope that your January is wonderful. I'm going to try to add some videos of the yards that are going on in the front and the back and the secret garden. And, you know, mostly everything's very dormant, but I will try. It's just my months have gotten a little bit crazy, and I also will be really focused on painting. So I will have a few videos of painting, so that's exciting. And if I see a couple of warm days, I'll try to get out and do some video of the gardens, at least a couple through the winter, so you can kind of see how it looks in the winter and how we've managed that. And I've got a lot of cleanup to do in the backyard, but the front yard's in really great shape, and the secret garden is just basically dormant. The front yard, it's interesting. I thought I'd mention and some of the challenges in the Southwest is the backyard stays pretty shaded, which is actually good because it keeps the ground kind of, you know, where it freezes, it stays pretty frozen. In the front yard, however, that's a really hot space. In the summer, it's really hot. As I've mentioned and complained about before, it's you know, in the 130 range, that emanates off of the brick walls. But during the winter, it also stays super warm out there, so it's required more watering. And of course, my newer trees are out there, so I've had to water a couple of times a month for them because they were getting too dry. So that's an interesting challenge for the Southwest desert. You kind of have to figure out where do you have the harshest sun as to what you can plant. And I think that's the other thing is about, you know, perennials are really good. They just need to be the kind of perennial that is going to survive this kind of environment, and then you get great benefits out of it. So it's been a real joy this year to see everything grow, and I'm really looking forward to the next year and all the exciting things we're going to do when we can. And anyway, thank you for visiting with me again, and you have a great January, and I'll see you in all my videos coming up, and I'll see you in a new vlog in February. Bye.